this around. So technically I need another 12 chains here, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So that means I've got 2 more 17s to go. This was a single crochet stitch one, and so the next one will have to be half double crochet. So I'm going to chain 13 in yellow, 1, and I'll try and keep these relatively small. I don't want big chains. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then in orange, what I'll do is grab the orange, move it up, and then this will be number 14, 15, 16, and 17. So there you can see we've got our alternating yellow and orange. Now in the first stitch I'm going to do, or loop, I'm going to do a slip stitch. Oops, let's just count that again. So right here I'm going to do a slip stitch. So this is the slip stitch that I'll do right now, which is good. And then I will have a single crochet stitch right here. And now as I'm coming up to do a half double crochet stitch, I'll pull the orange through, but this is the point where I'm going to change the yarn color to yellow, as you'll see in just a moment. So the yarn color yellow is going to slide through all those 3 loops that were on the hook. Hey crochet lover, hey Kiki, I'm the first person who came. Yes you are, I'm the only one here. Oh yeah, thanks for coming. Okay, so now I'm going to continue with my half double crochet stitches in yellow all the way down the length of the chain, and I'm going to wrap in the orange as well. So remember, I'm currently just designing. I don't have a pattern that I'm reading at the moment, and I will be creating the pattern for this character Zenitsu as soon as I'm finished. So everything that I'm doing currently is just designing the character. So this is just helping you learn how to design, but then also giving you a few tips for making hair and making hair with 2 separate colors as well. And you'll be able to do this for any personalized dolls that you guys decide to make. Perhaps you want to make a doll of your friend or something like that, and your friend has 2 different hair color shades in each of their hair shafts. So this is just a way that helps you learn how to rotate those colors. So I'm just continuing now with my half double crochet stitches in yellow all the way up my hair shaft or strand, and I'll get to the end here, and after I get to the end, so there's one more half double crochet stitch to go, so I'll just do that now. I'm just grabbing some more yellow yarn. So here we go. So I've got the last stitch right here. I'm still weaving in that orange tail because we want to make sure all of the orange is hidden and we can't see it. Hey 100VB, how are you today? And then at this point, I'm going to pull the orange yarn. I'm going to come into the very next stitch space, which will be right over here. And then I'll still weave the orange underneath, but I will make what is known as a slip stitch. So I just slip that in. And then you can see we don't have much hair to work with left, as in I've got all of these little areas left to go. And we may need to try to repin later on just because we do have quite thick hair for Zenitsu. And but it is working out very well. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing here, so if I just count this again, we've got 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So what I might do at this point is I might stop now with this number 17. I could technically do one more 17 if I just count all of these strands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Technically, I have 6 strands to go, which is a lot, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can we fit all of this in such a small space? I don't know. But we're going to try our best. I'm just not sure whether or not I should continue with 5 more strands or 6. So I could fill this up to, let me see if I did one here too. I might be a little bit a little bit struggling for the space. But the thing is, it's good because Zenitsu's hair is quite thick. and we can layer strands on top of each other if we're really struggling. So I need a 12 here, a 13 here, a 14, 15, and a 16 here, which technically means this one would be number 17. But do I want to do 17 or do I want to change the 16? I think I don't know what to do. So maybe what I'll do, here's what I'll do. Okay, so I've done 17, right? I've come into the next stitch and I've done a slip stitch. What instead I will do is get into the very next stitch. This is the only time I'll do it. And of course, it will be written in the pattern as well. And I'll come in here and do an extra slip stitch. And that way I can skip the 17 strand of hair and I can just go directly to 16 and then go backwards from there until I reach my 12th hair strand over here. And that will essentially be what we decide to do for designing our Zenitsu hair, as you can see. So let's do this as number 16. So we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So this time we're only doing 12 in the yellow, and then we will grab our orange, and we will do 13, 14, 15, and 16. This is perfect. So now what we want to do is come into our first loop over here and do a nice little slip stitch. I usually like to start doing a slip stitch because it helps me create that point at the end. If your hair was quite flat cut, then I would just do a straight single crochet or half double crochet stitch. Next, I'm going to do a single crochet stitch though. So here's the single crochet stitch. And then in the very next stitch, this is where I'm going to do a half double crochet stitch. So I wrap the yarn once, and then I grab my yellow yarn, because this is where I'm going to change the yarn color back to yellow. And I weave the yellow through all those loops in the hair shaft, or the hair strand. Oh, on the hook, I should say. Okay, so from here, I'm going to continue now with half double crochet stitches all the way up my length of the yellow, and I have to weave in the orange as I'm doing that. So you can see both orange strands, there's going to be two of them. So you got the one that you carried up to make this orange, and then the one that you leave behind because that's the tail that you dragged on from. And both of these need to be woven as I am crocheting my yellow half double crochet stitches. So here's the first half double crochet stitch, and you'll see as I come into the next loop, what I do is have the two orange strands lay on top of my hook. So they will just lay on top of the hook. You don't want them underneath. So for example, I don't want them to go like that because then they wouldn't be woven in. So they have to be on top of the hook as you weave them in. And that's just pretty much a technique for all you guys to learn about weaving anyway. So for example, if you change colors in your project, just like how we've done here, and you don't want to tie the two strands together because you know how some people do, they'll make a knot. They'll tie the two strand colors together and then they'll continue with the next color. But if you don't want to do that and you don't want to have all these knots in your project, especially if you're doing things like tapestry or making a cardigan or a scarf or a beanie or things like that, instead of tying your two strands, what you'll do is just weave in, as you can see, one of the colors as you're doing the other color. And the thing is, by doing that, you will have to pull the strand a little bit tight. And when I say the strand, I mean these strands over here. Just a little bit because you don't want them to become too visible as you're crocheting down the length of your chain. So I hope that sort of makes sense to you. And I'm showing you anyway how to do it right here, just to help you out. So you're weaving in the opposite color or the color that's not in use all the way down the length of whatever you're doing, whatever part you're doing. So you can see, I can see a little bit of my orange coming through here, but for me, that's okay. If I really wanted to get rid of that, I could pull this orange a lot easier. Also, it's a little bit hard not to see it just because I have two strands of orange that I have to weave in, so that's quite thick. But if you had one, it would be a lot easier to hide. But this is okay. I don't mind that Zenitsu has a little bit of orange poking out. I think it goes well with the gradient of that yellow to the orange, especially if you're familiar with Zenitsu and his character. So there we go. That is number six. No, hold on. That's number, technically, that's number 19 strands with 16 chains in it. So I'm going to come to the very next strand and perform a slip stitch just right there. And this time, what we're going to be doing is I could even pin this back over here just so it's not in my way. And we can reorganize all of these pins later. This was just to help me find out the length that I wanted to do. Hey, it's Olivia. How are you today? I hope you're well. Very nice to have you here. Don't forget to like the video, guys, if you haven't already. We've only got one like here, which is more than fine. But yeah, if you want to like this video and it's helpful to you, please do. Um, anyways, this is a live, not a video, but it will be a video after live. Anyways, okay, so here I'm going to be doing what I'm going to be doing is chaining 15. So I've got 1, 2 coming up. Then I'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So I'm only chaining 11 this time in yellow. Then I swap to orange here, as you can see. So we've done 11, now 12, 13, 14, and 15, because this time we only wanted 15 chains. Now I'll come into the first loop again, and we're going to perform what's known as a slip stitch. Slip stitch to make it a little bit pointy towards the end there. Next, we're going to do a single crochet stitch in the very next loop, so just a normal single crochet stitch there. And now we're going to do a half double crochet stitch. This is US terminology. It would be a little bit different if I was using UK terminology, but we are not, and I always use US terminology. I think it's a lot easier to understand as well, especially for beginners too. Sometimes UK terminology, well, compared to US, it seems a little illogical, but hey, that's just me. Sorry about that, UK peeps. So I'm going to come in here and continue with half double crochet stitches all the way down my chain. So every loop is a half double crochet stitch, just like this, half double, and I'm also going to be weaving in those 2 orange strands that I have in every stitch. So I need to make sure that I do this, because if I do not, then I'm going to just have orange yarn tails hanging out, and we don't really want to see those. Sure, we could hide them because we could, glue the hair strands, or we could sew them as I usually do. I usually sew, I don't glue. Um, but you don't really want to see those orange yarn tails, because it just feels out of place and it doesn't really go with this, or all of these crochet stitches that we're doing. Some crocheters and designers, when they crochet, they don't do this sort of hair pattern. What they'll do is just use strands of hair, and they'll work their way throughout every stitch to have strands of hair coming down. But in terms of this gradient, that's a little hard to do, because you wouldn't be able to see that orange. You can't just have one hair strand with mostly yellow and then a little bit of orange at the end. That's very difficult to have. And this, anyway, for me, is how I do my hair strands, all of these hair strands as I'm going across. Oh, we still only have one like on this live. Come on, guys, you can give it a like, surely. Surely you like this video. Okay, so the next one, we're going to be coming here and do a slip stitch right here. So here's the slip stitch. And then I'm going to put the strand way over here. So this is my strand where I've done 15 single crochet stitches. Now the next one is going to be 14, then 13, and then 12. So we don't have too much to go here. So we've got 3 more hair strands to go just in this first layer as well. And yeah, so once we got 1, 2, 3, the thing is we're going to be coming up here a little bit and just doing a couple more hair strands to make the thickness perfect for our wonderful Demon Slayer character, whose name is Zenitsu. By the way, here's his body, so you can see once I've put his head on his body, this is looking fantastic. What we'll do is we'll create sleeves here as well for his little jacket coat, or that, and then we've got to put a little bit more designing and things like that just to finish him off and make him look like the character that he is. We might even create a sword for him as well. So here we're going to chain 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this time we're just chaining 10 in the yellow because we're doing a total of 14. We bring up the orange yarn. We've got 11, 12, 13, and 14 right here. So the very first loop that we're doing is a regular slip stitch. Again, making it pointed at the bottom there. Then we'll do a single crochet stitch in the very next loop, and then we will do a half double crochet stitch, weaving in a little bit of that orange, and then this is the point at which we change the color to yellow. And you might want to pull it just slightly there to make sure that this loop over here is not too long, because you don't want to have just a random long loop in there, which may seem a bit, well, it wouldn't match the others, and then also it might be too loose, and you wouldn't want that for your hair strand. So always keep an eye on the tension of each of your loops, especially when you're chaining each of your single and half double crochet stitches as you're going through the length of the hair as well. So you just always want to be mindful of those things, your tension, and sometimes that takes a little bit of practice as well. As if you're a beginner, this is something you probably want to work on. Just doing a bunch of chaining and a bunch of single crochet stitches, you could start making little flowers like a tulip. That's how I began. I started making tulips, and we have a tutorial on this channel as well that can help you make your very own tulip flower, especially for Valentine's Day. I'm just saying, if you're a beginner, these things are absolutely possible. Do not think that because you've never tried crochet that you wouldn't be able to do it. In a week's time, you would have, if you practice crochet and we're doing it, 1 to 2 hours in a day, after about 1 to 2 weeks, you would be fantastic at making a few little flowers, sunflowers and tulips and things like that. It is nice sometimes to have a friend or a person guiding you through it, but that's why I've got these tutorial videos because they can help you as well. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully you'll find this channel very helpful for you so you can learn how to crochet. And if you really do not have any experience in crochet, what I have made so far is a couple of very beginner tutorials. So I even show you from the very basic and fundamentals of crochet of just how to hold a hook and how to hold the yarn, and then we work our way up from that point. So be sure to check out those videos as well if you haven't already. And I do hope it helps. Feel free to comment in those videos and let me know if it helps you as well. And what more things you might want to learn, which I can show you videos of. So we have just finished that 14 chain hair strand. And now, hey Kong, how are you? How are you today? It's Saturday here in Australia. It's Saturday morning. It's almost maybe around, yeah, 9:30-ish in the morning. Where are you guys tuning in from? Hey Claire, how are you? Nice to have you here. So we've got 2 more strands to go in this first round. So I will now chain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this time we're only chaining 9 in the yellow. Now we'll grab the orange, bring it right up. 10, 11, 12, and number 13. So this time this is my 13 chain strand of hair. And at this point, what I will do, as always, we come into the first loop here and we perform a wonderful slip stitch. So here is the slip. Well, let me turn it a little bit easier just to get that slip stitch. Sometimes you do have to turn your work, by the way, guys. You may be feeling like you're struggling to do a slip stitch or other types of stitches, but all it requires is just a little bit of turning of your project to make it easy for you to get inside your loop, and that's really it. So I'm coming in here now and we're going to make this half double crochet stitch, but I do need to change my yarn color to yellow right here. So I'm going to weave the yellow yarn through those 3 loops that were on the hook, and then I'm going to continue at this point with half double crochet stitches all the way up all the way up this hair strand, which means I'm going into every single loop that's left over. And as I'm doing that at the same time, I am also weaving in my orange yarn tails, of which there are 2, so that I can hide them and they won't be visible in each of those hair strands. Because again, you don't want to be looking at an orange yarn tail as you've got hair, especially for this character anyway. So for Zenitsu, we don't want to see these orange yarn tails. It'll just look a little bit unkempt, I would say. So we're gonna continue weaving all of this in. And we are almost at the end here of this first round, which is fantastic because we're progressing a lot. And this helps you understand the designer's point of view for crochet as well. So I'm not following a pattern currently. I am just not really winging it either. I'm following a logical sort of pattern in my head that probably hasn't been explained the best to all of you. But we started this yesterday, by the way, as we're doing this hair. And we started with crocheting up to or chaining 12 over here. And then we ended up working, getting a little bit like one chain added each time until we finished with 17 chains over here, and now we're working our way back up. We've got 16, 15, 14, 13. Here's number 13, and then we'll have one more that's 12 just to finish that off. Claire, you said, did you make the circle for the top of the head and then sew or pin it on? I did indeed make a circle for the top, as you can see. So we started with 6, then we went to 12, then we went to 18, and then we went to 24. Once we have 24, I've just pinned it here just to keep it nice and flat on the head, especially as I'm making these strands of hair. Now, if you were just following a pattern, you would not need to pin this at all because you wouldn't need to test really the length of each hair strand as you're crocheting that. The thing is for me, because I am designing this, I wanted to have something sort of a mannequin head, which I do have, where I've pinned the top of the head part on and I can check the length of these chains as I'm going down. And so that's exactly what I've done here. I've just pinned it all to make it easier for myself in that designing process. So I hope that helps explain it a little bit to you, Claire. But that's exactly what we do. And that's usually how I start hair as well. You may have, so for example, it just depends on the type of hair. So for example, if your hair is parted in the middle, like right along across the middle, this wouldn't really show that, right? Because I've got a nice circle here and I'm going to add a few strands at the top here. And yeah, so that parting in the middle is not really visible. So there would be another way of doing that where you would start off with the chain, work your way back along the length of the chain, and then start your chains coming out at the side, working your way back up, connecting to the next one of your chain, and then continuing that way all the way across the length of your hair. It would fold back down here, but then it would be parted, and it would seem like it's very much parted in the middle, which is exactly what you want to have. So there are just different ways of making hair strands according to what type of hairstyle you want. Now with this one here, Zenitsu, he has quite thick hair. So that's number one thing I noticed. So with thick hair, I've decided to go through having mostly these half double crochet stitches in each of the hair strands. Now, of course, that creates that thickness that you so desire, but also it means you might not be able to fit a whole 24 strands of hair along the entire, I guess, head. But the thing is, as well, we've kind of made up for that, and that's how I've designed it, and I'll write that in the pattern. So everything that I've done here to make up for that will work exactly for you guys as well, as you're reading the pattern. Now at the top here, what I've done is as I was making those 6, 12, 18, and 24 in the round, all of those stitches, in some of those I went inside the back loops only, which has allowed me to expose the front loops. As you can see here, it looks a little bit like you can see these loops right here. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to be using all of these, but I did it just in case because you don't want to go back and realize it's all incorrect and that you needed more of these front loops when you just didn't do them in the first place. So that's why I've included them here. And as I'm going around Zenitsu's hair right here, what I found is that it's already looking quite thick, which I absolutely adore. I think it's perfect for Zenitsu. But the thing is, I may want to add maybe just one more round, and I'm going to choose that I use this very first round of front loops, and that's what I'm going to continue crocheting in next. But this one down here, I'm going to ignore because I feel like we'll just have too many hair strands even if I use this as well. So I'm just going to completely ignore it. It's going to be covered anyway by me creating hair strands in this very first front loop round, as you can see here, which you'll see in a moment. It will just lay over the other one. And in the pattern, I would ignore this and just say you're just doing a regular round 3 single crochet increase to make 18 single crochet stitches. So you can see there are little things, little tweaks that you make as you write the pattern to match how you exactly want your layout and how you want your character to look. And so when other people are following it, they just get to do the following of the pattern. They don't really have to do that designing process, which is perfect. And then they come out with something that looks exactly like this as well. So I hope that helps. It's gorgeous. I love him. I'm subscribing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Claire. You're awesome. Okay, so now let's continue with this last hair strand that we have in the round, okay? So we are going to chain a total of, well, a total of 12, right? Because that's how we began essentially, and I want to have that one more strand of 12 over here. Now in order to do that, I want to finish off 4 of those with the color orange. So that means I have to only chain 8 in yellow. So there's 1 already done, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There's my yellow all done. And then I'm going to bring up the orange right to the top, and I make this a little bit straight, so you don't want to have too much of a loose orange strand there, because remember you do have to weave it in, and you don't want a little loop at the end. You don't want it visible. So you bring up the orange, you keep it nice and straight along that entire length of the chain, and then here's my number 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now we've got a very straight orange strand here. As you can see, it's falling neatly here so that I can weave it in, and there won't be much of a loop at the top once we finish because we didn't have that excess. So this is exactly what we don't want. We don't want excess of orange. So we just have to be careful with that. Okay, so here I'm coming in and I'm doing a beautiful slip stitch. Now slip stitches are not difficult. They just take a little bit of practice, that's all, just like with anything. A single crochet stitch, I would say, is probably even easier than a slip stitch. All it is your hook goes inside your loop, you pull the yarn through, and then you pull the yarn through again, both of those loops on the hook. Now you probably also notice that I'm not mentioning things like yarn over, yarn under. And the reason I think that's important for this tutorial anyway is because it helps you not have a particular idea of what to do. Just whatever seems natural to you is what you'll do first. And then as you grow in your experience with crochet, you may like a particular look and work and wonder, how do I get that look? How do people have these different style stitches that I'm not getting? And that's where you can start learning about yarn over, yarn under. And I have tutorial videos on that as well in my crochet for beginners playlist. And you'll see that in the single crochet section there. So you'll be able to see all those types of single crochet stitches and work out whether you want to use the technique yarn over, yarn under, or a combination of both. And that will be up to you. But here, and you'll also notice in patterns, they won't mention whether you're doing yarn over or yarn under. I do notice though in some tutorials they will say things like yarn over, and it's mostly yarn over. It is what people seem to say in tutorials. However, I am an absolute advocate for the yarn under technique. I love the look of it. I think it looks very all the stitches just, it has that square box sort of look, especially for amigurumi or dolls and things like that. It's got that square box look. You've got the little X's in each of those stitches. The stitches look a little tighter, a little neater, less space. You can't see the stuffing that comes through it. And for me, it's just something that I think looks absolutely brilliant. And so I continue to use that when I'm making my amigurumi things. It does take a little bit of time to get used to that yarn under technique, but that's just something that will come with a little bit of practice. And usually after about a day of crocheting or less, you'll get used to that technique very quickly. Now, yarn over is something all beginners do because it feels the most natural. And it's how beginners are also taught, again, because it's the easiest way to do it. And so I would still recommend, if you're very new to crocheting, to do that yarn over technique. Which again, I have tutorial videos of in my on this channel. So you guys can check that out as well. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so we're coming into the very next stitch here, so I can finish off this half double crochet stitch. And then we're going to grab the yellow because we're about to swap over here and change the yarn color. So there we go, I've swapped it now. And now I'm going to continue with my half double crochet stitches all the way down the length of the chain. Sorry if I was blabbing on a bit too much, but I hope, and I'm sure for beginners it probably didn't make any sense, but it would make sense once you start learning a little bit of it. So at least I could have given you the foundations of that explanation, and then maybe it will come back to you, or things will sound a little bit familiar when you get on your crochet journey. So I hope that helps anyway. So here we are going to continue with our half double crochet stitches, as you can see here, and we are coming into each of these loops along my hair strand, as I like to call them. It's a hair strand. Technically it is, in the sense that this is his hair. And yeah, we come into every loop and then we just complete that half double crochet stitch until we are finished the entire hair strand. So you can see here I've already come into my last loop, so there's no more that I need to do there. And now to finish off, I can see there's a slip stitch here, so I'm not going to go into this point right here, which will be before that slip stitch. Instead, I'm going to go after that slip stitch, and then I will pull the yellow yarn through, weave the orange inside, and just finish off with a slip stitch, just like that. Okay, now to finish this off completely, what I may do is I will grab my yellow yarn and pull that all the way through until maybe I've got about 40-ish centimeters worth of that. And that's perfect for me. So I've got 40 centimeters of my yellow strand of yarn, which is exactly how much I want, because I think that's a relatively decent amount. So it's all over here, and I'll be able to eventually use this yarn tail to sew all around here, which is exactly what I want. Now with the orange, you can see I've got a little bit left over here. So I might just cut a little bit and weave that in later. I want to give myself a lot because I don't want it to come undone later on. It wouldn't anyway, just because it is quite secured in each of like it's been woven in each of these hair strands, so it's very unlikely that it would ever unravel. But just to be sure, you want it even more tightly secured, and that's just the way you can do it, by cutting the orange yarn and then just weaving it into the head as you finish that off. So what I'm doing now is I'm moving these hair strands just slightly across so that I can fit all of them in. And there we go. I probably could have even fit one more in here if I really wanted to. But it's all just about the pinning in place and having a nice arrangement of each of those hair strands for you so that you get a beautiful character just like that. There you go. So there is the beginning part of Zenitsu's hair. You can see we've got all of these orange tips down the side here, which is it's it's looking really good. If we wanted even more orange, we could have started up here. But the thing is, I'm going to be doing that for the next round. So I'm going to be including a little bit more orange for the very next round. But still, we are looking great, and I think he has, yeah, the potential to look very much like Zenitsu. And yeah, I don't think we've gone wrong here with our design of him. The only thing I might change, if I was to write this as a pattern, is this part. It could be considered a little bit too long. Um, and so I might change the amount of hair, sorry, I might change the amount of chains to, instead of 12, maybe do about 10. But in any case, you can't go wrong. Like, you just pin it in a different position. These parts can stick up a little bit. You can still see the eyes, and we've still got a beautiful character right here. So this is what we have so far. So what do you think? Should we continue on? Should we continue on in this next section here to make the next set of, well, let's see. We'd probably do 12, 12, 12, maybe 4 lots of 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, um, 17, 16, 15. No, so we've got only one 17, 16, 15. No, I'm just trying to think. We've got 12 loops here. I want to make like maybe 4 of them as 12 chains. Then maybe I can do 15 on the sides, 16 on the other sides, and then 4 lots of 17. I think we will do that. How about that? So we've got 4 as 12, starting in that very first stitch after that slip stitch right there, and it would be laying on top of the other 12s that you have. So once you finish the round, you just go directly above. So that's how I'd explain it in the pattern. Once you've cut your yarn off here, you'll just go directly above it into the very next front loop stitch over here, and that's where you'd start. 12, 12, 12, 12 chains, 15, 16, 17, 17, 17, 17, 16, 15, and that's how we would do it right there. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So glad I made it. Looks so damn good. Oh, you made it? Oh, okay. That's cool. Wow, that was fast. Did you follow along with this tutorial? That's awesome. You are awesome. Okay, so what we'll do is again how I would write it in the pattern. So we've already cut all of this part off, which is fine because we're going to use this later on. But then where we have finished, I'm going to stick my yarn hook right in this first layer. Now I have to be careful because I want to make sure that I'm working the right way around as well. So I come in this first stitch right here. I'm going to grab some yellow yarn, and this time, let's just untangle it a little here because it is a little bit tangled. But yeah, so I've got my yellow yarn. Sorry, I made it to your live. Oh, hey, I'm glad you could come to the live. Yeah, I got very confused. I was like, wow, you're fast. How did you crochet Zenitsu as well? But to the live, that is awesome. I'm so glad you're here as well, Brianna. You're awesome. Okay, so we're going to grab this yellow yarn and we're going to enter into that very first front loop. As you can see, here's the front loop, and I'll just make that very easy to spot right there. So we're in the front loop, and then we're going to grab the yellow yarn. Oops, let's not get the orange yarn in the way. So grab it and pull it through just like that. So we said we're going to chain 12, right? So in doing that, I will chain maybe 7 in yellow. 1, 2, because I want a bit more orange. 3, 4, and I'll just pull this because we don't want much of a chain up here. So that's 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now here, this is the point where we're changing to orange. So we've got 7, and then we'll have, I'll just point it like maybe this much, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we've got more orange this time. So here, we're coming in here and making this slip stitch. Then we come in here and make a single crochet stitch. So there's the single crochet stitch right there. Then we wrap and do a half double crochet stitch all in orange. And we're at this point where we changed our yarn color, this is where we're going to chain back to, chain back to yellow. So change it back to yellow right here, as you can see. So we've got more orange this time. This is looking great. And probably adds to that gradient effect, which is exactly what we want. And I'm going to come into the very next loop over here, weave in these orange strands as I go down. So I'll just weave in both of these, and we'll pull the yarn through as normal and do a half double crochet. And I'm going to try and keep these keep these stitches tight. I want to keep them tight because the thing is I don't want to have too thick hair strands. I want to make them the the perfect size for me. Let's just say that. But again, like these things take a little bit of practice, right? So you get used to the tension of your yarn as well. And yeah, everyone gets used to their own way of doing crochet. The techniques are all the same, but everyone has a little like spin off and how they like to do things as well. So there's no absolute perfect technique in terms of how you crochet, where your hand placement should be, nothing like that. That's all up to you to figure out. Every hand is different, but the techniques of learning how to crochet, that's what's the same, and that's what's very important. Okay, so we're going to pull this yellow strand right here so we don't have too much of a um, too much of a loose chain because we don't want that loose chain over here. And then what I'm going to be doing is coming in the very next front loop. I'll grab the orange strand over here. So I'll grab that, I'll pull it, and I'll just make a slip stitch. So I'm going to turn it a little bit, make that slip stitch, and there we go. There's my first strand of a total of 12 and finishing there. Um, Sorry, I made it too live on my bed. Guys, please be their channel. Can't forget your other half. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Um, you're awesome, Abriana. So I've come in here, I've done the slip stitch. I will now chain another one, two, let's see how many we chain. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in yellow. Then I'll grab the orange, keep it nice and straight. Then we'll do 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 right there. So at this point, we do a slip stitch first, then we do a single crochet stitch, then we'll do a half double crochet stitch, and then here we'll have another half double crochet stitch. But before we finish that half double crochet stitch, we need to pull our yellow strand just so that we don't have a loose strand over here, and then we pull the yellow through each of those 3 loops that were on the hook. And then we'll continue with our half double crochet stitches in yellow, just like this, and continue all the way down the length of the chain, just like this. Apologies if you can hear a crying baby. She's not my baby. I live with some friends at the moment, so we're all sharing the same house and they have their baby and baby's crying clearly. Anyway, so we will continue with this. I'm sure the baby crying will stop soon once she's fed and looked after, which I can assure you she is very well loved. She's probably just being let let to cry at the moment. Okay, so coming in here and we are doing our half double crochet stitches, and now we will finish that one and we'll do the very next one. And just to finish off that strand, I am going to make a slip stitch right here, and there we go. So now we've made 2 strands of 12, which is wonderful. So we've made 2 strands of 12 right now. We're looking good. Let's make our 3rd strand of 12, okay, because we'll have 4 in total, yeah? So let's do that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we'll grab the orange. So we've done 7 so far. Then we'll do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. That's exactly how many we want. 12 in total. And then we'll come here, do a single crochet stitch. As normal, we've always done this at the very beginning of each hair strand. So single crochet stitch, then sorry, a slip stitch. Oh my gosh, did I say single crochet stitch? I meant a slip stitch. I keep getting those two mixed up, don't I? I know exactly what I'm doing in my head, but then the words come out a little bit floppy. My apologies. So yes, slip stitch is always first, then we change to a single crochet stitch, then we do a half double crochet stitch, and on the very next one, we do a half double crochet stitch, but we change the yarn color at the end there to yellow. And then we continue up the length of the hair strand with yellow, and continuing with our half double crochet stitches as well, as you can see I am doing right now. So I hope this is helping you understand a little bit about hair, crochet, amigurumi, design, and a little bit about writing a pattern as well, even though we haven't written a pattern, but just to know what to expect when you get a pattern as well. That tells you in US terminology how to follow this. Which I will have a longer video, I think, coming out on how to read patterns because I think a lot of people do struggle with reading patterns, especially if it's their first time getting used to crochet. But I can assure you that it is very easy and quick to learn. It doesn't take very long. That's all I would say there. So I wouldn't be too overwhelmed by it. It is a very simple type of jargon that's used. It's very logical, straightforward terminology, and yeah. Abriana, I do. You said I do. I would love that help. Absolutely. I will do that. I'll try and get that video out maybe next week or the week after. I have so many videos lined up and I'm thinking it's hard for me to prioritize everything, but I would do my best, especially with crochet patterns. I think that's something that people would find extremely helpful. So I will do my best to get that out as soon as possible. And maybe I'll use one of my patterns to help you along to understand how to read it. Okay, so one, two, three, we're finishing off the last one of the 12. 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7. Then we'll come here with our orange yarn, pull it up nice and straight, and then we'll do 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There we go. So first one is a slip stitch. Got the name right there. Very good. So slip stitch is the first one. Then we do a single crochet stitch in the very next one. Then we do a half double crochet stitch in the next one. And now this is where we change colors. We are going to start as a half double crochet. So we've wrapped and pulled the yarn through. But then before we pull the yarn through everything, we change the color to yellow, just like that. So now I've got my orange strands over here and we're going to continue with yellow, but making sure we get behind all of the orange as well so that we can weave that in properly. So we're going to finish up this yellow just here, finishing it all up and doing half double crochet stitches along the entire length of our hair strand as we have been doing before in all of our hair strands, because most of these hair strands are the same. We've just changed the length of some of them as we've been going across so that we can get that desired length that we want for Zenitsu, our Zenitsu character, who is super cute. I think he's one of the cutest characters on Demon Slayer, personally. I haven't actually watched Demon Slayer, but I know it's popular, so from all the characters that I've seen so far, Zenitsu is one that I think it looks very cute. It's those baby-like features. So anyways, we've done 4 here, which is perfect. This is looking great. And I might just slightly move this pin just to a different section. And we can get to the next section now. So we've done 12, and I said the very next one we could do is maybe 15, either 14 or 15. I'm tempted to do 14 at this point just because, well, let's see, let's pin these, see what it looks like, and we can pin them right at the edge of the orange. So I'll just grab some pins because they won't come down the length of the entire hair. As you can see here, 3. It'll be interesting to see what this character looks like once we've finished him. I think he will look great, but we'll have to wait and see. So you can see here, we've just got a little bit of extra hair, and it's perfect because it creates that thickness of the hair, which is exactly what Zenitsu's hair does. We've got thickness in his hair. Now one thing I did notice was we had 12 here, which means maybe I'll have one more 12 here just to make it a little bit more even, because this comes on the side here. So maybe I'll finish off with 12. So in that case, as I'm coming down here, I might have 14, and then we'll swap to 16. I'll do 3 17s, then 16, 14, and a 12 to finish off. So you can see how I've already changed the pattern, just like that. You can see it once you start designing, you've changed the pattern because of how the hair falls over here. And we want to keep it consistent and symmetrical. So that's what we need to do there. Okay, so this one, instead of 12, remember I'm doing 14. 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll do 9 chains in yellow. Then we'll change to orange. So 9 chains in yellow, then we change to orange. 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, first one is the slip stitch, as we know. Slip stitch right there, then a single crochet stitch right there, then a half double crochet stitch, finishing off there, and then in this half double crochet stitch, we change the color to yellow, as we always wanted, always to change to yellow as soon as we do that second half double crochet stitch. So yellow is coming up here, we pull it through all the hair strands, we've got this orange left behind, and this is the point at which we're going to be doing half double crochet stitches for the rest of our chains, or in the rest of our chains, as we work our way down the hair shaft or the hair strand. So we're just doing that here. Here's our hair. We're doing half double crochet stitches. We're actually almost finished. We're almost over halfway of this second round. And once we're finished the second round, we're finished entirely with the hair. So it seems like we are making lots of progress here, which I love. It makes you feel a little bit accomplished once you get some of this done. So we are doing very well. And thank you all for being here so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We have lots of tutorials and things coming out. So be sure to check all of the things that come out when they come out and turn the notification bell on so you can be alerted for when all of this stuff does come out, which would be fantastic. Now, in the very next one here, we're going to chain 16 in total. So here we go. We will chain 1. We need to see how many in yellow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 9 was for 14. So now we have 10 and 11 so 11 chains of yellow for the 16 chains that we're going to do in total. This would be number 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so let's start again. So we've got single crochet stitch here. Single is right there. Then we have, I did it again. It was a slip stitch. This is the single. You can see my brain is not 100% on this morning. Half double crochet, and in this second half double crochet stitch, we're going to change the color to yellow. So pulling that a little bit there, then change the color to yellow, and then grab the orange and continue with half double crochet stitches. And this hair strand marks exactly our halfway point for the second round. So this has not taken too long at all for the second round. And as you can see, we'll be finishing up very shortly once we finish all these hair strands, and it should only take maybe about 10 to 15 minutes to go. So we are making lots of progress here, guys. And again, thank you so much for sticking around if you're still here, and I hope it's really helped you learn a little bit about crochet, how to make hair, how to design. Yeah, you never know, like you could, once you become quite good at crochet, which doesn't take very long, a couple of months, and I really think most of you could be good at crochet. But you might have friends that ask you to, make a doll of them, or a personalized doll of them, or their significant other or family members, and this is all the ways to try the techniques of designing. I know each and every one of you can do this, absolutely. So here we're coming into the very next stitch, and this is where I'm going to start my my 3 lots of 17 chains. So we're halfway now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should have 6 remaining things to go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6 over here, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we're going to start with 17 chains 3 times. So let's begin now. Hey Yegor, how are you today? Nice to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Change the color to orange at this point. Orange coming up. So we've done 12. Orange. Let's just pull the yellow. We don't want too much of a loop there. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 to finish that off. So we'll do a slip stitch right here, slip stitch coming up, then we'll do a single crochet stitch next, then a half double crochet stitch next, and then a half double crochet stitch again, but this time this is the point at which we change to color yellow. So here's yellow color right here, and we will continue now with weaving in all of those orange tails as we work our way across the length of our hair strand and continue pulling in the yellow strand as we make our half double crochet stitches. This is exactly what we want. We are, again, very close to finishing. You guys are awesome for sticking around. Is there any particular crochet patterns that you guys have started making? I have lots of Valentine's Day things that you can make. I've got so many tutorials on this channel that you can follow along with. So I hope you get a chance to be able to do that and make something and begin your crochet journey if you haven't already. And if you do know how to crochet, I hope there's something on this channel that you enjoy so you can learn how to crochet as well. Hey Blossom, what is that? This is the hair of Zenitsu, a character from Demon Slayer. So we are making his hair currently, as you can see. And once we finish his hair, this will be fantastic because we'll almost be finished his entire outfit and body. And if you want to see his body, I have shown it before, but it's right here. We still have to finish his jacket or his coat, a little bit like that. And then we've got a little bit of design, adding some white, adding a few facial features, a little bit of design on his pants and things like that, his belt, to make it more obvious, a couple of buttons down here, and then we will have finished his character once we sew the head with to the body. So that's what we're making. It's coming out so well as usual. Thank you so much, Igor. You're amazing. I really appreciate that. We are doing our best. I still have yet to finish Mickey Mouse as well. I kind of stopped making him as I was trying to make this Demon Slayer character. And I know someone else has asked me to do another Demon Slayer character too. So I kind of want to do that at some point. But these things take time. That's the only thing. Only thing about crochet, these things really do take time. So coming in here and doing another single crochet stitch, just like that. And now at this point, what I can do is start pinning down some of my hair just so it gets out of the way. We don't have too much hair all in our face and it gets in the way of us crocheting as well. So we just got to be careful with that. That's why I do like to pin it sometimes and just make it a little bit more easier to have a look at and crochet all at the same time. So that's exactly what we're doing here. So that's the first lot of 17 chains that we've done there. I'm going to pin it. Oh, maybe with a better pin right here. So I'll pin this down here just like that. You can see we're getting that thickness that we want across the length of his hair. As you can see, we've got these yellow parts that are keeping very consistent all the way across here. So we've got 2 more 17s. Okay, let us do this. So we've got two more 17s, then a 16, then a 14, and then a 12. 12, 14, 16, 17, 17. Good. So that's five more strands that we need to complete until we are officially finished the hair, which I'm very excited about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we want 13 right here, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we're going to pull that. Can you guys hear that? It's like next door neighbors are fighting. It's a bit awkward for them because it's on a live. I'm going to be quiet so you can hear it. Naughty, naughty. Oh, slam door there. There we go. Okay, so maybe slam door means it's the end of the fight. I don't know. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Okay, come in here. We'll do another half double crochet stitch, and then we're going to change to yellow. So here's our yellow. Change it there, and then we will continue in the very next spot. There, yellow, yellow, continue with yellow. How's everyone today, by the way? Are you guys all good? You having a good day? Is it evening? What time is it for you all? Currently here it is 10:19 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Just very nice. So it's Saturday morning here in Australia, Sydney time, but I'm about an hour away from Sydney, hour and a bit away from Sydney, on some place called the Central Coast, which is where all the beaches are, and it's a little more green. So it's nice here, that's for sure. So here, half double crochet stitches. We'll just turn this around a little so we can see it as well, because we want to be crocheting the right way. We've got a wonderful 19 people watching here. You guys are awesome. Tell me in the chat what you guys are up to today or this evening. Where you're from. And yeah, I'd like to get to know you. And I hope you enjoy coming to this channel, and I hope it's been interesting for you. And you've learned a little bit as well, a little bit about crochets. We've been crocheting Zenitsu's hair. So coming to the next one, 17, then we got 16, 14, and 12. So we are on the right track here. There we go. So we got one more 17 to go. So I'll just pin this down too. We got 4 more strands to go. 4 more. We can do this. Give me some motivation, guys. Give me the motivation I need. We got 4 more strands to go, and then we're done. All of our Zenitsu characters' hair. Please give me the motivation. I'm feeling a little bit tired at this point. Okay, so we need to do this. We need to do this. Hype myself up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then grab our orange. 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Let's do it. So we got a slip stitch here. Then we've got a single crochet stitch here, a half double crochet stitch in the next one, and in the very next one we'll do another half double crochet stitch. But here is where we change the yarn color to yellow. So let's grab our yellow, weave it through those 3 loops on the hook, and then continue weaving in the orange, but making half double crochet yellow stitches all the way up our hair strand, just like so. We're going up the hair strand right now, and so we're just going to continue with these half double crochet stitches, and then we will have only 3 hair strands to go, and they're going to get shorter and shorter from this point. So we've got 17 3 times, then we have, after this one, we're going to do a 16, then we'll do a 14, and then we'll do a 12. And when I'm saying these numbers, I'm meaning how many chains we do in total, just in case you're a bit confused about me talking about numbers that had no significance or meaning to you. So there we go. So we're almost finished this hair strand right here. This is my 17 chain hair strand, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go into the very next front loop stitch, just like that. I'm going to weave the yarn tails underneath. I'm going to pull and make a slip stitch, just like that. And at this point, I can chain this down. Sorry, not chain this down, pin this down, just like that. And now we'll do 3 more. We've only got 3 more to go. We can do this, guys. Okay, 3 more, 3 more. So let's do our 16 one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, so that was 12, 11. Go back to 11. 11, and that's where we change. We almost forgot that. We change, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Slip stitch first, done. Single crochet stitch next, done. Half double crochet stitch next, it's now done. Another half double crochet stitch, pull through, pull the yellow a little, and now weave the yellow through to finish that off. So weave the yellow through to finish off the change of color. Then we'll continue with the next loop, weaving in the orange yarn tails as you go along. So here's one, coming up to number 2, and continue down the hair strand as you do that. And after this, we've only got 2 more to go. So we are making much progress. Progress. We're doing very well, guys. Thank you so much again for being here. We're almost done, and then we can be happy with our success. Single crochet stitch right here. I enjoy doing lives with you guys. I feel like in the past couple of days they haven't been as entertaining. Not many people really write in the chats, and we don't have a good conversation. I'm not sure if that's just a bit of a combination of me and you guys in the chat, or it could just be me not really doing great to keep you entertained. But hey, I look forward to some lives where it's a little bit more upbeat. Maybe I should get some music as well, so we can just all chill out together doing crochet. You guys can crochet alongside me, you guys can watch, you can hear me talk, all of those things. It's 100% up to you. So what do we have? We've got Quitaria. I probably butchered your name. I really do apologize. And you're speaking in a different language, which I have no idea what you said, but hello and welcome, and I hope you enjoy staying here. So slip stitch, we've got 2 more strands to go. 2 more to go. So this is number 16. Pin it down because we want it pinned down. So 16 goes there. Then we'll do 14 at this point, 14, 14. So we need a 14 strand. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So just 9 in yellow here. Then we'll change to orange. I'm getting a little bit tangled up here though. So change the orange. We've done 9 chains, and we've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, slip stitch is how we begin this. Every strand, slip stitch, single crochet stitch, half double crochet stitch, and on the very next half double crochet stitch, we will change the color to yellow. This is always my favorite part when we change it to yellow because it's just a lot. It feels like I have control now over my hair strands, which is good. So I'm going to weave in those orange yarn tails as I continue down the length of my hair strand, and we'll continue just making half double crochet stitches in yellow. And remember, this is the one that I made as a 14 chain. So this is how it goes. We got chain 12. We did another hair strand as chain 12. Another one is chain 12. Another one is chain 12. So that's 4. And then we changed it to 14, chain 14. Then we changed the next hair strand to 16. Then we changed the next 3 hair strands to 17 chains. And then we change back to 16, back to 14, which is the one we're doing now, and we'll finish with one more as 12. And that's how we will finish these wonderful hair strands. We have one hair strand to go, guys, just one. We have made such progress. So proud of you all for being here and working with me here. We have made a lot of progress here today, and this is looking great. We're almost done. The last hair strand here. Just the last one. What do you guys think? Can we make it? Can we do this? Of course we can. So let's come in here. Let me grab my pin. Let me pin this down in a place that I want. And now for the last one, here we go. We will do 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Change to orange. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Slip stitch as always. Beautiful slip stitch with the orange. Single crochet stitch with the orange. Half double crochet stitch with our orange. And here is the second half double crochet stitch where we switch colors back to yellow. So back to yellow is here, coming in now. Now we're on our last and final strokes to finish this off. So we will make the first strand right here. Nice. Weaving in the orange as we go. The second half double crochet stitch right here. All done. The third right there. Just finished that third. And we'll just keep going. Don't have too many to go. 4. Don't want to speed it up too much because we don't want to make a mistake at the end here. 5. Feels like we're coming to an end. 6, which makes me feel happy because this has taken a very long time. And lastly, 7. So we've just finished that now. And now I'm going to not weave this in. I'll weave the orange one in when I get to my very first space that I'm working with here. I'm going to grab the yellow yarn right here. Boom, make a slip stitch, but at this time I'm going to pull both the yellow and the orange through because I probably will end up weaving with the orange later on. So I'll just give myself a little bit. Try not to have it too knotty over here, as you can see. So I'm going to pull this through. Pull, pull, pull. Let's not get knots. I said not get knots. I'm going to pull that through and probably cut at this point. Cut, pull it through, and there we go. So the only thing that I wanted to cut over here was this strand because that was weaved in as we were going along. And here I can pull and have this nicely as a strand right there. We can maybe pull these slightly across as well, just to make them a little bit more where they should be, so it's like evenly spaced with all of our hair strands. Just we want it always nice and even. especially at the front here. Okay, so there we go, guys. I think this is the thickness that we really want. We've got our nice second layer. We've got the thickness for Zenitsu's hair. It's coming down here. This is exactly what we want. It's looking fantastic. And there is Zenitsu's head with his hair. So I will sew that in at my own time. I will write the pattern as well. I'll take a few photos, so like those progression photos, and then yeah, but we've done so well. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. We've been here for over an hour now, but you guys have been great company. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope I've taught you something along the way. You guys are awesome. I'll have more videos coming out soon, so don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to like this live too if you haven't already. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day or evening, whatever it is for you. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.